5, and people showed up early and on time, so we're going to get started. Hopefully some other people will jump in as we go. Let me share a different screen here, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about me. All right, hold on one second here. Where's my screen go? Oop. Stop sharing. There's everybody. Oh, I see Angie.
I see me now. I was trying to look I was trying to look for myself. Hi, everyone. Okay. I always feel a lot better when I can see people's faces.
I know it's fun to be able to see everybody. I'm just trying to set something up real quick while we're doing this. I'm not sure what's going on here. There we go. Let's see. All right. All right, let's get to formal introductions. Again, thanks so much for being here. Hopefully you guys can see that on my screen. My name is Raul Lopez Jr. I am the founder of a speaking forum called TAG Talks. And TAG Talks stands for Transparency, Acceptance, and Growth. I got into the author speaking and coaching industry many years ago, just based on my own trauma, my own life experiences, and understanding that I allowed, and so many of us do. So it's not our own fault per se in the beginning, but we have traumas or challenges that we go through when we're young, and then it dictates our lives. We start to live this life that we shouldn't be. We get off track per se. And then when we discover those that we are living through fears and we're living through conditioning throughout our lives, then we can shift and change that. So our whole goal in everything that I do, transparency, acceptance, and growth, overcoming trauma, this book that I've written, Heal the Boy and the Man Will Appear, it really is all about transforming our lives and understanding that sometimes we're held back and we don't even know why. So I'm going to do a quick introduction to myself on the types of events that I do, and then we're going to get right into it and start giving you some tips and tools and hopefully help you to understand where you're at, why you feel the way you do, why you act the way you do, why we do the things we do, and why we don't do the things we want to do. So here's a quick introduction, and then we will go from there. Thank you.
Raul's going to come up on stage. He has an amazing story. I know his book is absolutely fantastic. So if you get a chance, he'll probably mention that, and I would highly recommend reading it. But again, I'd like to thank him for putting this on, because without him, there's no way this would have been available for you guys. So come on up.
But Raul called me up and he says, "Do you want to come speak at my event?" This was Tag Talks last year. Maybe some of you know you came. Raul says, "You want to come speak at my event in Sacramento area?" I said, "What are you doing?" He shared the mission. He shared his story. I said, "I don't want to come and speak. I want to invest in it. I want to partner with it. I love it." And then I enrolled other friends and he enrolled people. When you have a big mission, people start getting on board.
What Raul did, and what I want to congratulate Raul on, right, is putting this tag. Yeah, we can give him a round of applause right there. Is he put together this tag talk, and it's not just about, hey, look how cool we are, right? But it's really about what are those dark places, what are those difficult times.
People out there for masterminds and big reads and behind amazing speakers, and this audience. In the holiday weekend, they got to show up over here to build out. Let's see Raul and Ian, every single one of you speakers. That's the thing, all your favorite speakers. From Raul, from Tom, from Alex, from Krista, everyone.
How many of you enjoyed Raul's presentation this morning? Who enjoyed that? Yeah, you know why? You know what he did for an hour? He told what? He told the story. You were captivated. Beautiful story. Incredible man. Amazing things he's up to. The transitions he's gone through. Extraordinary. That captured you.
I talk to thousands of startups and small businesses annually, speaking at conferences like this. Another shout out to Raul and the team. What a great idea. I listen to every talk and got some great stuff, which is always wonderful.
I'm actually going to introduce the one and only Raul Lopez Jr., the founder of Tag Talks Live, author and speaker and coach. Let's give him a huge round of applause. Raul Lopez Jr.
You know, we connect the dots by looking back. We can't look forward and go, what happens next? What happens next? We look back and we go, oh, I understand that now. So what has happened to us is very important in our lives. We're all here to help each other. So make these friends and keep them close, get some contact information, and watch what happens from here, because we're the beginning. We really are. Quiet your mind and soak in prayer. Meditate, learn to quiet your mind. And I was like, how do you quiet your mind? I didn't even know we can control what we think and when we think it. They had really good food, but I had a little plate about this big and it was $50. It really was. And motivation. And today I'm going to talk to you about how to create the life that you want. What does it take to create the life that you want, to build your dream, to achieve your goals, to have happiness, wealth, and success in your life? It was just this block that I had, right, throughout all these years. Even though I had understood the science side of things, even though I understood the biology, the psychology, I understood what I went through, but I hadn't healed from it. Time to rise. In everything you do, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, a stay-at-home dad, in a career, an entrepreneur, make a conscious effort to raise the bar. I'm Raul Lopez Jr. Enjoy the day.
Hey, that is my fun video. You'll see through that. Let me turn on my camera real quick. There we go. You'll see with that I am just passionate about helping people share their stories and getting messages out there for everyone. One of the things that's very important to me before business, before anything that's monetary, before stuff, is really who we are and what we do. So I work with a lot of different types of entrepreneurs, and what we're talking about here today is not necessarily about building a business, but it's more about what does it take to put yourself to a level, a frequency, an energy of being able to take action on your dreams. So many of us, for many, many years, you know what, I'm going to tell my story in really short. Before all of that you saw, before all those stages, before my speaking forums, before I wrote this book, Heal the Boy and the Man Will Appear, I was lost. And I'm going to bullet point this because this Zoom is not so much about me, but it's what I'd like for you to discover in you, and that you have the capability to do whatever you want, wherever you've come from. It doesn't matter where you've been, how you've acted. It doesn't matter who you are today. If you don't like the way you are today, you can be a whole different person tomorrow. And we're going to teach those tips and those tools a little bit in that today. Then we're going to invite you to come and join us, because we're going to spend some time together, a full day, and have some fun. Anyhow, let me go back to what this book comes from. Heal the Boy and the Man Will Appear. Learn the importance of understanding and expressing your emotion is a subtitle. And it's really not for men. It's not a book for men. It's just that it's my story. And that's why it's called Heal the Boy and the Man Will Appear. And in short, very short, I'm going to break this down into 5 minutes. I usually speak for about an hour and a half on this. But at the age of 7, I had a childhood trauma. I was basically taken from my father, kidnapped, took a plane to another state, put on a plane to another state, and then I was told I wasn't going to see my father again. And it shifted my life. I couldn't understand why. I didn't know what was going on. I was 7 years old. I didn't understand emotions, right? Emotions. I don't know if you know this, but emotion, energy, and motions. Your emotions are an energy. Your emotions and your thoughts trigger hormones in your body, and they can make you sick, physically sick. If you get stressed out, there's hormones kicking in and you start to feel sick. Your body shakes. Emotions are energy. So at the age of 7, I didn't understand that. Most of us don't know that as kids, and a lot of us don't know that as adults. But so I held in those emotions because I didn't know how to express them, right? Everybody here understands, I'm sure, that if you know that emotions are an energy, then what happens when you compress any type of energy? It'll explode at some point. So that's how I lived my life for many years, just in anger. So by the time I was 9 years old, based on this trauma and being lost and confused and in a fog, sadness, broken, all these things I didn't understand. By the time I was 9, I was doing drugs. At the age of 13, I had my first child. And then at 14, I got incarcerated. From 14 to 24 years old, I spent the majority of those years in some type of facility. At the age of 15, I was taken from my mother. I was made a ward of the court. In order for them to make a child a ward of the court, they have to title him as something, and they titled me a menace to society. And they said my mother couldn't handle me. They registered me with the county I lived in as an alcoholic, and they took me from my mother. So I ended up in the streets, in facilities, finishing up my incarceration time in San Quentin prison. During those years, I always had three questions for myself. Why do I do what I do? Why do I act the way that I act? And why do I feel the way that I feel? Many of you don't know that there are answers to those questions. Many of us don't know, like I had mentioned in that video I just showed, that we can quiet our minds, we can choose our thoughts. And when we do that, we can control the way we live in our lives. So turning your pain into purpose really is understanding and getting the answers to those questions. And then understanding that everything we've survived, all the pain we've been through, all the challenges we've lived, that we gain wisdom from that. And we gain wisdom from our challenges, from our pain, from the problems that we've survived, we can help other people with that. So our goal here today is not only to help you understand why you do the things you do, why you act the way that you act, why the way you feel, or why you don't do the things you want to do, but to heal from them. That's the first thing, is to heal from them, and then take that wisdom and use it to help other people, right? In my business, in my goals, and everything that I do, my motto is I help people help people. If I help you and you go out and share your story and take the wisdom that you have and help other people with it, huge ripple effect, and we change millions of lives. So with that said, I say your knowledge, your wisdom is not common knowledge. I say that all the time. Your wisdom is not common knowledge. And I want to reiterate that only because so many of us have survived things, but we don't really understand, or we think that if I know it, everybody else knows it. I know I grew up feeling like that. If I had the answer to a question that somebody asked in a group, I wouldn't say it because I figured, if I know that, everybody knows that. But little by little, I learned that I had wisdom that nobody else had. So do you. You have wisdom that nobody has based on your life experiences. All right. So that's a little bit about me. That's what I do. I have Angelina Cortez on here, who is very passionate about the same type of things, helping people change their lives. I'm going to introduce her and let her talk a little bit about her company, what she's doing and how she's helping. And then we're going to get into a few questions that'll help you understand some of these things that we're talking about. And then we're going to take some Q&A. So we're here today to hopefully help you understand a few things, a few tips that can help you in your life, and then take some of your questions and expand on that. And then I'll tell you a little bit about what we have going on in Newport Beach next month. So Angie, thank you everybody first for listening to me. And now I'm going to pass it over to Angelina.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. What a powerful story by Raul Lopez Jr. I always get inspired by all the stories that he says and how far he has gone through his personal development, and understanding that the pain that we have gone through is purposely made for us to find our life purpose. And I guess his life purpose, through all his adversities and pain and traumas, is to now help other people do the same, to heal and to overcome, all of those things. And with that said, this is where I come in with my new program. It's called Pain into Purpose, called PIP, PIP. And what is PIP? It's a platform that helps people transform their lives and change their lives through healing and changing their personality to their greater selves and discovery of purpose. And you'll be the reason why this came out, to become a thing, it's because myself, a little bit of my background also have gone through pain and traumas. How many of you guys here sometimes don't understand why the things that are happening to us keep on happening to us? Anybody? I mean, you can raise your hand. I mean, I don't know if they're unmuted, but if you have experienced a painful or traumatic event and you don't understand why this happened to you, there's always a reason why things happen to us, but it's actually for us. And Pain into Purpose helps people understand through neuro-linguistic science, spiritual awakening and healing, understanding what were those painful and traumatic events happening to us. So I want to share a little bit of my story. Also, since I was a little girl, I never felt like I fit in. I never felt like I was loved by my parents, and I don't know why. And now I know, knowing what I know, is that they love me, tremendously. But before I never did. So I grew up with resentment. I grew up with not feeling that I fit in my immediate environment, feeling rejected, creating abandonment issues, creating lack of self-worth, lack of validation, and all those things that we all experience now as an adult, but we don't understand where all these issues came from. And a lot of our who we are now, it's a reflection of the way we were raised, the way we grew up, and the things that happened to us. And this is what Pain into Purpose help you understand, going back all the way back to your inner child or blueprint from 0 to 7 years old, where we go back and we understand every transition and every phase or every traumatic or painful event that we went through. What did it mean? And what type of trauma it created, what type of feelings and emotions it created, and how is that affecting us in our adult life on making decisions as far as picking the right partners or continue to picking the same partners over and over, being addicted to toxic relationships, having abandonment issues, being abusive to ourselves, or having addictions. So I go back to the inner child, right? And we identified all of those things that have been triggering us. And this is how Pain into Purpose was created, but it was just not created due to my pain. I went through this pain and through these traumas, experiencing all these things in life. I also got married at a very young age, as Raul started, I had my first child at 17. Then I had divorced, and I ended up single mom with 2 children, knocking into doors, trying to find a job. So I went from being a high school kid to immediately being a mom and a wife, and from being the richest kid on the block now to learning how to survive and provide for my family. Can you just imagine, all of those transitions, the fear, the scarcity, worry, stress, anxieties, depressions, you name it. And then from that to finding a job, which led to a career, a property management career, leaving that, remarrying, then end up single with 4 children now, and now going back to square one, right? Why did this happen to me? Why did this keep on happening? I'm not understanding, but through all this process, as I'm growing up, I'm not doing the healing work, and I'm not understanding what's happening to me. So I keep on going, and I keep on making the same mistakes. And then from there, I went through to being a sheriff, and then from being a sheriff to where I'm at now, right? So through all this transition, I'm losing my identities over and over and over, and I don't understand what's happening. But what I understand now is that based on the trauma, based on the pain, based on the fears, based on the stress and anxieties and depressions, I created an identity that created my reality. The reality of not having money, or the reality of repetitive repetitive circumstances or relationships, repetitive toxic relationships, failures, being in the dark, even suicidal thoughts. And it was not until one night that I really hit rock bottom, and I asked God, you know what, God, guide me. I don't know what else to do. Like, I've been a good person my entire life, and all I'm trying to do is to make it for my children, make it for whatever it is. So I went to sleep, and through meditation and prayer, God came into my dream, and he told me, this is what you need to do. She is by Angelina, this Pain into Purpose, you're going to help and heal people, and this and that. And he was dictating like so fast. And I was just writing things down, and I was, oh my God, this is overwhelming. And I didn't understand what was happening. It was a dream. But then when I woke up, that notepad with all the notes that I took of my dream, that God was telling me, this is your life purpose, to help other people heal their pain and trauma. And this is how you're going to put it out there. This is how you're going to help them. All those notes were on that notepad laying on my chest. And this is how Pain into Purpose was born. She is by Angelina. It was a God's divine gift. And here I am in front of you guys trying to put this opportunity to you guys to understand that what you have gone through in your entire life was not meant to break you, but it was meant to make you. It didn't happen to you, but it happened for you, because you're gifted, because you're chosen. And there's something in there that if there's a wound that has not been healed, if there's a traumatic event that you haven't overcome, if there's experiences that you keep repeating and repeating over and over, there's healing work to do. There's recognition to do of going back to each experience and understanding what did that experience happen for you. So we go back we learn, then we unlearn the programming, right? Because we're programming ourselves through our thoughts and our emotions about, okay, well, this happened to me. I am sad. I'm pathetic. Nobody likes me. Nobody loves me. I'm rejected. I've been abandoned. So we create these stories in our head. So we need to deprogram all that garbage that we create in feeling the way we feel. And then now we go back and reprogram of like, this was the purpose of why this happened to me. So this is what Pain into Purpose is.
Oh, I love it. What I want to do is I want to give you an example of a breakthrough that I had that I didn't know that I carried. This is the key in what we're teaching here and why we're so passionate about it. And it goes into that our wisdom is not common knowledge. We carry trauma. We carry habits. We carry things that we don't even realize that we are carrying, and that we're reacting in our life to things that happen to us, and we don't even know it, and we don't even know why, right? Why do I act the way that I act? Why do I do the things that I do? Why do I feel the way that I feel? And I'm going to give you an example. In my youth, I was told I was taken from my father and all that, and there was a reason for it. My father was a drug addict and alcoholic. At the age that I was taken from him, 7, I didn't know that. I just know I loved him to death, and when he wasn't around, it tore me apart. But I do remember at a very young age that when I would go visit him, he lived in San Francisco, California. If any of you guys are familiar, there's some really bad areas there, and he didn't live in the nicest areas. But he would take me and he would leave me outside of bars at the age of 7, 8, and 9, and he'd go into the bar and he'd stay in there till it closed, 2:30 in the morning. I was a little kid sitting outside a bar in San Francisco till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and he'd come out fighting, he'd come out wasted, he'd just come out different every single time. I never knew what to expect. All I did know is that I loved my father, and even though I was sitting out there, I was happy that he was there. I just wanted to see my dad, right? So what I learned was, in order for me to be around my father, who I loved to death, I had to accept him to treat me badly. I had to accept the abuse from him. Okay. I didn't know this. I didn't learn it when I was at that age. I learned it when I was a full-grown adult in my late 30s, and discovered that I allowed people in my life that I loved to treat me badly. My relationships, my friends, right? My wife at the time, all of these different people, when they would treat me badly, I would just allow it. And I didn't know why. I didn't think about it, but they would do things, say things, act a certain way, and I would always just ignore it for the most part. So when I started training and learning and understanding these things, the psychology side of things, the spiritual side of things, understanding that there's answers to those questions, spiritually, neurologically, right, psychologically, then I discovered in a conference, just like the one we're going to invite you to, what I discovered in a conference, and the question was, who did you have to be to receive love from the person that you wanted love from the most? Who did you have to be to receive love from the person you wanted love from the most? And at the time, at that young age, it was my father. And what I realized is I was conditioned to accept bad behavior from people that I loved, that I wanted to be around subconsciously. I didn't know I was doing that. So after many, many years of allowing people that I loved or I wanted to be around to treat me awful, then I discovered that I was doing that. And I thought, I don't have to do that. I don't have to allow you to treat me badly. I don't have to allow you to cheat on me. I don't have to allow you to put me down and make fun of me or whatever was going on. I didn't need to allow that. It was a conditioned response that I had from a very young age that I didn't even know that I had. So I want you to understand, and Angie and I are going to go into it, I want you to understand that we all have that. We're all the same, right? I was talking about emotions earlier. A lot of times when I talk about my story and I tell my first story, I mean, I've been telling the story for many years, and it breaks me up. And I see the people in the crowd, they're always in the audience, they start to cry. And people come to me all the time and they go, man, I had the same life, but as you, but a little bit different. I said, you had the same life as me, but different. What does that mean? Like, well, I didn't go to prison, and I wasn't on the streets, or I wasn't in a gang, but my life was the same. And I used to say, explain, until I discovered and understand what it is. It was the emotion. Emotional pain is emotional pain. If I was taken from my father, but somebody else was taken from, their sibling, it's the same emotional pain. So we all have that. And based on the traumas that we've had, we get conditioned to believe, think, act, and do the things that we do, just like in the example I gave you of, I allowed people that I loved and wanted to be around to treat me badly. So if you are in a relationship, if you are at a job, or if you have people around you who treat you badly, but you can't seem to cut them loose, and this is just one example, you can't seem to cut them loose, there's a reason for it. There's a reason for everything we do. There's a reason for every way we feel. Statistically, neurologically, I should say, by the age of 30, everything we do, every reaction we have is based on our experiences in life, right? If you got into a car accident with a red car, and a red car hit your car really bad and you got hurt, something happened, without even realizing it, every time you saw a red car, you would get triggered. You would get into a bad mood and you'd be like, why am I in a bad mood all of a sudden? And you wouldn't even realize that a red car that you got into an accident with drove by, and you'd be like, So there are things you got to pay attention. There are things you got to understand to help you transform your life. Because when you start to understand these things, you can get rid of them. There are exercises that Angie will put us through coming up, and that you'll be able to just erase these negative things, these negative patterns that are holding you back from living the life that you want. Now, living the life that you want can mean a lot of things, right? It could be, I just want to be in a loving relationship. I just want to start my own business. I just want to have a better job. I just want to be happy when I wake up in the morning. I want to go to sleep without my mind racing and thinking about all the negativity. I don't want to be depressed anymore. I don't want to have anxiety. I want to understand why I feel the way that I feel. There are so many things that we as human beings psychologically put ourselves through because we don't know any better. We don't realize there's another way, right? I think I mentioned earlier that I learned how to quiet my mind. I don't know if anybody here has ever practiced that, but quieting your mind is not an easy thing to do. It actually takes practice. When I learned that when somebody told me you can quiet your mind and soak in prayer and meditate, I was like, what? I didn't even know that was possible. I mentioned that, I think, in that video too. And I had to practice, and we're going to give you guys tools to be able to do that too. So anyhow, I'm going to talk a little bit more. Everything we're talking about is part of the one-day Pain into Purpose that we're putting together in Newport Beach. It's actually on March 11th. But I have a couple of questions for Angie, because she really does have some amazing insight and stuff that we're going to teach. Myself, I'm going to be there. Angie's going to be there. We're going to have a licensed doctor, psychologist there to help people process and have these breakthroughs and understand who they are. And then from there, just go out and create and understand and learn what your purpose is in life. And everybody's purpose is different. Everybody's purpose is different. But in my opinion, once you heal, God-given, all you're going to want to do is help other people not go through the pain you went through. As soon as I discovered what was going on in my life, as soon as I discovered the psychology, the neuroscience, the faith side of things, God told me, you need to go help people with this, just like what he did for Angie. So in my opinion, in my view, in my experience, in all of my heart, I believe that's why you're here, is to get through anything you're trying to process, to understand anything you're trying to process that you don't even know, to figure out why you feel the way you feel and act the way you act, and then learn, heal, and then go out and help other people. So Angie, I'm gonna turn this back over to you. There's a couple of things that you and I talk about. We have great conversations, and one of them is how our current personality creates our personal reality. Okay. Now we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then I'm going to tell you how your current personality comes into play. But first, let's talk a little bit about, with Angie, how our personality creates our personal reality.
Yeah, a lot of the awakenings that I'm having and discoveries are understanding that our personality creates our personal reality. I don't know if anyone in here, does anyone in here have ever heard that your personality creates your personal reality? If you can type, let's have a little bit of interaction here. Just type the word yes or no. If you ever heard that your personality creates your personal reality, and how does that happen? So the way it happens is that since we were little kids, we have been programmed to develop this programming of who are we becoming, and who we become based on the way we are raised, the way, everything around us in our environment, the traumas and experiences that we have had in our lives. It creates an identity. And if we were raised, right, in an environment of abuse, or if we went through an abusive relationship, or if we were raised by parents who were always absent, right? So we create personalities based on the feelings and emotions that we had as we were growing up, or as we were experiencing those thoughts and emotions. So what do they say? What you think and feel, you become, because it creates a state of being. So if you're telling yourself, why me, poor me, this happened to me, you're creating an identity, a personality of victim. You're creating a personality and identity of lack, which means that you're always becoming a victim, even though you don't know it, but you're putting yourself as a victim, therefore things keep on happening to you. Does that make sense? If you understand this, type yes or no. I would like to get a little more response, but it's so amazing that once you acknowledge that what you think and you become creates your state of being, which means creates your personal reality, and you can change it, it's amazing. Your life is going to change tremendously, because if you're constantly thinking on the things that happen to you, but you don't understand yet that it happened for you, then you put yourself in an identity and a personality and a reality that is created by pain, that is created by depressions, that is created by anxieties, that is created by stress and worriness. And this is where all this negative stuff starts happening to you, right? Like the addictions, the suicidal thoughts, the toxic relationships, the failures, the fears. So based on the way we think and the way we feel, we create our personality. So if your personality is made out of a victim, poor me, then you create a reality of things that are going to keep happening to you. If you create a personality that, because you grew up on a broken family, or you grew up on an environment that money was never enough, there was no abundance in the environment, right? So now you're constantly chasing the money. So you created that identity of like, I never have enough money, I'm broke. Who has here ever said I'm broke? Type yes. I grew up after I left my parents' house saying like, I'm always broke, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough money to feed my children. So I was constantly chasing the money. So therefore I created a personality, and I created a reality of being broke, a reality of lack, which means I was blocking the universe or anything around me to give me opportunities or for wealth. Does that make sense? Do you guys understand that?
Yeah.
So when we change the way we think and the way we feel, our reality will change. It will change to better and greater, to positive, to happiness, to wealth, to success. But we have to think it first, and then we have to feel it. And there's an alignment between the heart, between the mind and the heart, that sends this vibration to the universe, and it gives you everything you want, but you have to be in an alignment. You cannot be saying, oh, I want to be rich, I want to have $30 million, and you continue to say it every day, I want to have $30 million, but then your heart doesn't believe it. You don't believe in yourself, you don't believe you're worthy to have 30 million, so you don't believe that you can have 30 million in your bank account. You cannot believe that you will ever see such as money just on your hands. And because your mind is saying, I want the money, but your heart is saying you don't deserve it, you're not worthy, you're not gonna get it. Therefore, you continue to live in the reality of scarcity. Does that make sense? It's just an example that I'm using money right now as an example how the personality that you creates your reality. But the realities that you also create are of suicide, are of darkness, are of depressions, are of stress, abusive relationships, divorce. You continue to get fired from jobs. You don't know who you are. You continue to get lost in life, and you just don't have fulfillment. You don't have happiness. And all of this is just going back to discover who we have been in order to change who we want to become. So you want to change who you are, you have to become what you have never been by removing all of the identities and personalities that you created based on pain and trauma. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that. It's a powerful statement. I wanna just add to it a little bit. Because like I had mentioned earlier, that the majority are all people neurologically after the age 30, we're living in habits and patterns and based on things that have happened to us. And in order to create that new habit, that new lifestyle, to get what we want. And, honestly, when I've worked with thousands of people one-on-one and in groups, I do all these events and I work with a lot of people. And whenever I ask people what they want, it's usually one of two things. They want a better relationship in their life. They want to find their soulmate. They want to be in love and be treated well, or they want more money. Right? They need more money and they can't figure out how to make the money. And I think that's why Angie brings up money too, because those are the two things people ask for, but truly what people are just looking for is to be happy, right? And we think somebody else is going to make me happy. If I get in a relationship, they're going to make me happy. Or we think if I get a ton of money, it's going to make me happy. Now, with that said, is it part of enjoying life? Yeah, I'd love, have a wonderful relationship and somebody that I can love and loves me and it's not going to treat me badly and I'm not going to treat badly and we're going to have this great relationship. Yeah, that's great. Can I have a ton of money? Yes, I've had a ton of money. I've made millions of dollars, properties everywhere, all kinds of stuff. But you know what? During some of those times, I'm still like this all night on my desk, depressed and things that I've had problems with in the past. So those things don't make us happy. Right? They help in life and they're great. And when I always say, I'm not pushing away money. I love money. I like to have a ton of money. Right? And I like to be in a great relationship, but internally is where it matters. Right? Because if I'm going, I want a relationship to make me happy. I want money to make me happy. I'm going externally. The only place that can make us happy is internally. Connecting, like Angie said, the mind and the heart. One of the lessons that we teach also is, like, if you're listening to what Angie's saying and you're going, well, this is just the way I am. I hear that a lot too. It's just the way I am. It's not just the way you are. It's who you've been conditioning yourself to be right now. But I've tried everything. I've been to seminars. I've done this. I've done that. I've tried everything. What you haven't tried or what you haven't discovered is that you have to get used to the unknown, right? We're all adults. We're all grown up. We've had a lot of experiences. Every decision we make is based on something else that has happened to us. If we love pizza, we're going to go buy pizza. If we hate pizza, we're not going to go buy pizza. If we applied for a job at a certain type of sales job and they said no every time and we got insulted by it, we're not going to go apply for those jobs anymore because we don't like the way it felt to get rejected, right? So we have to create our lives. In order to create our lives, in order to change, we got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And we got to be okay with the unknown, because when we're in the unknown, we're in creation mode, right? What do I want? I want a ton of money. I want a new job. I want a promotion. I want. We actually have to shift that to I'm going to, I look forward to, right? The way we talk to ourselves is very important, but looking at what's coming, right? We have to be able to imagine it and see it and feel it emotionally. We got to be able to look at it and see it and feel it. If we're looking at the past, which is the known, if we're looking at the known, if we sit here right now and anything that I tell you that I know, it's come from the past, it's come from something I learned. Doesn't mean it has to be bad, right? But most of the stuff we worry about, most of the reason we don't take action, most of the things we don't do that we want to do are because we've had a bad experience with it in the past, or somebody told us growing up we couldn't do that, right? People tell us, our families tell us, our parents tell us, not in a bad way, they think they're helping us, but they tell us we can't do certain things. And then we just believe it. Oh, okay, we can't believe it. We believe it. What my mom said, my dad said, I can't do that or I shouldn't do that. I'm not going to do it. And we just receive it and we take it on. So we have to be able to work and live in the future mind, not the past mind. If we're working through things that we've experienced, we're living in the past. We gotta take the wisdom from the things we've experienced and use that wisdom and put us in the future into the unknown.
So if I can add to that, Raul, it's one of the exercises that I have on my coaching program for Turn Pain into Purpose is creating a future. And it's creating a future, right? Like you were saying, this is something that you and I talk a lot. It's creating a future out of your greatest self and not your past. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but a lot of the times we want to create a future, a good future for ourselves, a successful future, a wealthy future, a beautiful marriage or a beautiful relationship in the future. But we cannot go to the future carrying the baggage from the past. You cannot create a future from the unknown, because what you know is the past, and it's all the programming that you have based on the trauma, based on the pain, based on the programming and your own blueprint that you have created through your entire life. So if you want a better future, you want a wonderful future, you kind of have to disconnect from the past, and you have to vision the greater self of who you want to become in the future. And you have to start living it right now as if it's happening to you, like if already happened. Otherwise, we continue to drag and keep on pulling. It's kind of like a backpack, right? The minute something doesn't feel comfortable, if you're going to the unknown, most of us don't feel comfortable with the unknown because you don't know what's going to happen. And that was me in the past, Raul, where, and I remember one time one of my coaches told me, Angie, you are a very successful woman. You have accomplished so much. You have a wonderful family and blah, blah, blah. But you don't seem to be able to be okay with the unknown. Like, for example, like, it's okay not to know what's going to happen next. And I'll be like, no, I need to know what's going to happen. And I need to know that it's going to be okay. So this is something that I learned that I have to unlearn, to be okay with the unknown, which means now if I want to create something new, I can create it with something old, especially if that old it was created out of fear, out of pain, out of depressions, out of anxiety, stress, and darkness. So I have to be able to disconnect from my past to move to my future, but live my present like if I already have my future self in the current moment. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, let's do this because I do want to keep everybody's time. We said we'd go for about an hour. We're only a little over 45 minutes in, but I also want to take some questions because some of the things that we're talking about here are brand new to some of you. Some of the things you may not fully understand, and we want questions. We want to engage. We want to help you. It's going to be so much more expansion of the things. We're just introducing you to a couple of concepts and a couple of breakthroughs that we've had ourselves. But our goal is to meet you in person, help you transform your life, and really inspire you to take your healing and then go help other people with it, whether it be you write books or you share your story at one of our events or at this event, and you share the things you're learning and continue to help other people. Because again, I believe 100% that when we get healed as human beings, that our burden, our God-given invited burden is to help other people. So if anybody has a question, throw it in the chat, and we will answer them one at a time. In the meantime, if you are curious about our March 11th event, it is in Newport Beach, California. Beautiful venue, right on the water. We love to use this venue. I used it for a lot of different events just because it's real peaceful. It's calm. It's on the water. It's on the ocean. It's so nice. There's a link. I don't know, Angie, did you put the link in there? There's a link in there. You can see the page that for the information for the event, and you can get a ticket. The ticket's only $2.99. Right? I mean, it's a great value for a full one-day event. I just finished one of my events last week. It was a 2-day event, and those tickets were $2,500. So for $299 for a full day, hanging out, learning, coaching, one-on-one sessions, and just a great day, it's only $299. It's a great value. It's on Newport Beach on the water, and we'll work together with you as groups and on one-on-one. I think Angie put the link in there. Did you put the link, Angie? Could you drop it in there just right now? I think you put it in a little bit earlier, but if you can drop it
on the chat. Yeah. So, and another thing is, let me see if this one, which one is this one? Yeah, I have to go back and grab it again. Let's see 1 second, but yeah, continue on, Raul. I'm sorry.
Okay, so questions. We're looking for questions. Some of this stuff that we talk about, a lot of us don't understand. I know when I first started learning these things for myself and having my own transformations and growing, there were huge breakthroughs for me. And I mean, I would cry and I'd go, oh my goodness, I don't believe it. Like when I discovered that I was allowing people to treat me badly because I loved them and I wanted to be around them. I mean, it was such a breakthrough of, I can't believe it. Like, why would I want to be around somebody who treats me like that, So there's just a lot of different breakthroughs and things that are happening. Let's see if we have a question here. I live in coastal Virginia, not for me. Thank you. Good luck. Hey, thanks, Rick. I appreciate it. People fly out from all over the place at our last 2-day event. We had somebody come in from
Germany.
Colombia. We had somebody come in from Canada. We had somebody come in from Germany. So it comes down to what are you seeking? You know, if you don't feel like you need healing, you may need it because I'm always working on growing. Even though I've had the breakthroughs and the healings that I've had, I continue to do the study. It never ends. We're always on this what I call a human journey, right? And we're learning and we're expressing and we're figuring things out and we're continuing to grow and heal from other people. So I appreciate you, Rick. If you'd like to come out, that'd be great. How do you know you are healing? Diego asks, how do you know that you are healing? Angie, you want to answer that, or would you like for me?
Yeah, we can both collab with this. I think it's a process where you will know that you're healing because what hurt before doesn't hurt anymore, or what is causing you depression, you're already out of that depression. And you can, it's for example, like, let me give you an example that Raul used where he said, if you went into a car accident and it was a red car that hit you, right? And then from that point moving forward, every time you saw a red car, you'll get paranoid or you get traumatized or you were stressed. But then all of a sudden you're driving on the freeway and you're surrounded by red cars and you're at peace. You have that inner peace where like, oh, okay, like I'm safe, I'm okay. So it's creating that safety and that peace with whatever is it that is causing you pain, or it's causing you, the anxieties, that is causing you the traumas, the mental, the mental and emotional instability.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to add to that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And then in addition to that, it's being self-aware. What I learned, one of the tools that I've gained, and I'll give it to you guys right here, it was a life-changing tool for me, is to being self-aware of how I feel and why I feel that way, right? If we use that same example, the red car goes by and all of a sudden we have this weird feeling, we're like what is happening? Like I stop. What is happening? Why do I have this emotion all the time? And I'll give you an example. And I actually, a psychiatrist that I used to see told me this story about herself. And what she said is that her husband was watching TV and she walked into the room and she immediately got frustrated with him. And I guess what the story is, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, but there was a series that he was watching and it had something to do with high school. And there was a series that he was watching. So for 3 days, he was watching it. Right. And when she'd come home from work, he'd be sitting there watching this series and she got triggered every day. And she didn't know why. She didn't understand why. So her husband came to her and said, hey, every day when you come home, like you're immediately mad at me, like something's going on. I don't understand what's happening. Right. She was educated enough. And it's not just about like book education, but it's about understanding and being self-aware of ourselves. She realized that he was watching this show about high school and that she had a horrible high school experience, right? I think she says she had pimples or glasses or she was made fun of, whatever it was, she had a horrible high school experience. So when she would get home, whether she'd be in a good mood and the whole thing ready, and she'd get home and this TV show was on about high school, it triggered her. And she didn't even know it until she started to have the conversation. She realized, wow, that thing is triggering me because I had a horrible high school. So we have to be self-aware and understand of the things around us, and we have to practice what's going on. Why do I feel this way, right? One of the things that I still do to this day, another tool for you guys, is as soon as I wake up in the morning, I control my thoughts. I choose what I'm going to think about, and it's always gratitude. I hope you've heard that before. It's always about gratitude, because when you're gratitude mode, you're also receiving mode. You're giving love, you're giving gratitude, and you're receiving love, and you're receiving gratitude. So I choose my thoughts. I try not to pick up my phone for at least an hour, right? Because as soon as we wake up, usually what happens is if we're getting ready for work, we're thinking about what we have to do today, what we didn't do yesterday, who's on my social media, who's talking crap about this person, who's doing that. There's just all this negativity that we can allow ourselves to be bombarded with. So when we pay attention and we recognize what is the things that are triggering us, and we start to separate from these things that, I remember this years ago, have you ever been on Facebook watching the news, and next thing you know, you're in a really bad mood? It's because it's all negativity. It's all negative. It's telling you what's wrong in the world. So when you start to pay attention and have that self-awareness, and you start to eliminate those things, your body will calm, your mind will calm, your triggers will calm, and you'll start to feel the healing. You'll start to feel better, and that'll help you. And you'll go, wow, my life is changing. And if your life is changing just in one sense, that you feel better when you wake up in the morning, that you're not depressed all day, that you're not, thinking about bad things, like negative things all day, that you're not worried all day, that's huge, because that's the beginning of the new life that you want to create, the new unknown life that you can have, right? Angie, you mentioned something earlier, and you happen to be talking about money, but I know a lot of my events, when I talk to people, I mean, we guarantee people that we'll have them making 10 grand a month over 90 days, right? And some people look and go, $10,000 a month, nobody can make $10,000 a month. And that's just a limiting belief, you know what I mean? And there's so many like that. You can have a wonderful relationship. I can never have a wonderful relationship. You could not be depressed anymore. That'll never happen, right? Those are the first things that we tell ourselves. So that's why we live. Like Angie said, we're creating our reality based on our personality, and our personality is based on the experiences we've had in life. So we're getting close. We've got about 5 more minutes. I'd love to answer more questions. These are great topics. The link is in the chat. If you want to join us live in person, I'd love to shake your hand. I'd love to give you a hug. I'd love to answer your questions in person. I'd love to do journaling with you and help you heal and understand why you feel the way you do, why you act the way you act, and why you don't do the things that you do. So the links are there. We'd love for you to join us. And we're here for a few more minutes. I'd love to answer any questions. Is there anything you didn't understand? Is there any, like, how do I do that? Anything else? We'd love to answer those questions for you.
And you guys, this is a safe container, right? I want you guys to understand that we come from a place of love and not judgment, first and foremost. So if you have a question that, you need help with, or some clarification, don't feel like anyone in here is to judge, because at the end of the day, we all have some sort of trauma and pain that we have experienced. And I think the way that we come together to help each other grow is just amazing. And one of the reasons, or one of the things that I always say, the reason why PIP was created is because sharing our survival story help us transform from the victim of a circumstances to the victors of our own story. And there is nothing more powerful than to say, I went through all of this, I healed, I overcame, I understand what my purpose is, and now I'm helping other people do the same. And this is why Raul is here. This is why I'm here. And if you guys want to more personal, like one-on-one, you can hit me up, or you can hit Raul up. If it's something that is more private or more delicate that you want to talk about, more, a little bit more of what's it called, privacy, that's okay too. But just understand that everything we do it from a place of love and not of judgment. So
yeah, it looks like, Angie, you also put your calendar link in there also. So
yeah.
if you have more questions about March 11th, Newport Beach, it's going to be a wonderful day. I'd love to see you all there. Book a call and ask. You can ask some more questions in private, like Angie's saying, if you have some more questions. Bring a friend. I mean, it's going to be a great day. Did we get another question here? Let's see.
Yes,
Are
I'm answering it.
other speakers coming to the event in March? So as of right now, it's myself, it's Angie, and there's 2 other healers that we're working with. So we'll be doing some meditations. We'll be calming our mind. We'll be doing some training on giving you tools. We'll do them there in person, and then we'll be able to take those home and practice those so that you have a good day, that you start out with a good day, that you end with a good day. And if you're starting and ending with a good day, the middle is going to be just the same. So we're at 1 hour. I'll take questions. Angie's will take questions. If you have not or if you have more questions, but you don't want to ask them here, please click the calendar. If not, get the ticket. It's only $299. It basically, we're just covering costs for the venues and all that to do this work with you. And we'd love to see you there. We'll be doing a couple more of these webinars over the next few weeks. If you haven't booked a call with Angie or myself, or if you haven't bought a ticket yet, jump on the next webinar, and we'd love to see you in person there. It is worth a flight. I'm telling you, the transformation is worth a flight if you're coming from out of the state. I'm flying down there just to put on the event, because these things are healing for me too, right? Continued work, continued healing. I never stop self-development. When I help, right? I told you TAG is transparency, acceptance, and growth. When I'm sharing my story, I'm helping people grow, but I'm also growing myself. I'm always learning new things. So I hope you guys will get a ticket. The link is right there. Purchase it. Set up a call with Angie one-on-one if you have any questions, and we'll see you there March 11th. We start, I think, 9 a.m. It's a full day on the water, and we may even do a bonus yacht cruise. I take people out on cruises after this. I use this venue all the time. I got some buddies there. We got a few yachts, and we enjoy a nice coastal cruise right there after we're done. So we hope to see you soon. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for spending the time. Thank you so much. Grateful to you too. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.